Have you ever been victimized by New Age spirituality?
We've been waiting for you. We've been waiting.
You're gonna want to listen up.
I'm Megan, an intuitive life coach and Reiki master.
I'm Ryan, a professional astrologer, and we want to show you what spirituality is by talking about what it is not.
Con artist.
Yes.
Snake oil salesman.
There are so many susceptible people out there.
And then they're tainted. They're ruined. They don't want to come back to spirituality.
We still have a lot to learn, and we will humble ourselves and learn, I think, every freaking day. This is Clairvoyance,
a podcast of spiritual interference.
Money, 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 money.
This is it. I was going to start singing, the best things in life are free, but you can give them to the birds and bees. I want your money.
I love it.
That's our topic. Money. All about it.
All about it. Yes, claim it. As like, okay, I'm so excited to see where this goes, because normally, like, this is a deep dive episode, everybody. And we have so much to discuss, but I feel like normally Megan and I will kind of align, like we'll share notes or something beforehand. Mm-hmm. We have not shared notes. Neither of us know really what the other one's like. We're freeballing, but it's not like the serendipity sessions, like style episodes where it's like truly no prep work. Like we both feel prepared to discuss this. We just don't know what each other's going to say. And one thing I was thinking about with this, it was like, we have such different approaches and mindsets on this, mm-hmm. which I think is fascinating. Like it's one of those mm-hmm. very few, I think, subjects where we are so, like, I don't want to say out of sync. We're just not like on the same wavelength, because your initial instinct right there was to like claim it. I love it. I love money. And my, like, what I was going to literally say, I was literally just about to be like, oh, the necessary evil. Like, look at that difference of perspective. Jesus.
That's so true. That is so true. Also, a disclaimer, this episode, we are not financial gurus. We're not giving you financial advice. We're not talking about the market. None of that. Mm-hmm. This is just our perspective on old Lincoln, George, Benjamin's, so relax.
Yes. We're like we may actually turn this into a series. Not like the toxic. I think we totally will. It probably won't be like bang, 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 like we did with the toxic positivity series, but like we've got a cool idea for a guest, like that we could have on. Like I think there's other, like, a good 3 parts that we could get out of this whole topic. But today we're going to discuss it like as a physical entity that we deal with, but also an energetic thing, and just like our experiences with it. And I think we're going to give you a lot of really cool perspectives on just the concept of money. So don't expect some boring episode about the history of capitalism or what's the current rate of inflation. Because whatever it is today, it's probably going to be different tomorrow.
That doesn't affect me.
That doesn't see, like, look at you, like, with that. I love that.
Mm-hmm. So anytime you're scrolling on TikTok or the news, and don't get me wrong, I understand that stocks and the market is important, and I'm not discrediting, but like I'm not getting on that ride. That's a fear ride, and the minute you start cowtailing to that is the minute that you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. So money is a frequency, it's a vibe, it's how you feel about it. So are you in a state of being able to receive? Do you fear money? Were you raised in a poverty conscious mindset? How'd your parents talk to you about money? All these things have an effect. And so while you might not be aware up until now of that, if you have a poverty conscious mindset, you got to fix that if you're going to make money. And it's not just about, the thing about money and love are kind of on the same frequency. So
Venus.
Yeah. Maybe, what our clients come to us for, they want love, money. Those are the two. I mean, everybody, that's what everybody wants in the world, love and money. So, but you got to get right with yourself. You got to get right with your mind, and you have to train yourself to get to that spot of receiving. So you can think it's as woo-woo as you want. It's not, but it is a practice, tangible practices that have to be done daily.
It really is. I have so much to say about this, because, like, what I love about you and why I think you're probably better with money than me is because you are so headstrong about it. And you are, I just feel like your intention and mindset with it is so pure. Whereas my brain is thinking of all these other layers and factoring in so many other little things, which I'm going to bring up some of these points, because I think they're valid and interesting to just consider. And I think that there's other weird things like my birth chart. I have Pisces ruling my house of money. Like, I'm sorry. That is like the worst sign to have ruling your money house. It's just like money comes and goes and there's no rhyme or reason to it. Very difficult to get a hold of it. So part of me is like the fate versus free will conversation in some of this, a little bit of like, well, what am I learning in my lack when I have lack or something in my life, even no matter how good my mindset is on it, which isn't as strong as yours. But it is so interesting because like, and some of this even actually brought me back to the toxic positivity series that we did because like the placebo effect, right? Of like a money talisman or something, like having a good luck charm to bring in money. Like all we know is placebo works. Who the fuck knows about that lucky little thing, right? But we do know placebo and nocebo works. And I don't know. I just like think that there's like, I remember, I think in that episode too, where I was saying like about my health, how I'm like, I never get sick. That's just a thing. Like it's one of those few things.
You have no
mind...
resistance to that though. That's why. So like you have resistance to money. You have no resistance. So when you think like, I never get sick, there's no resistance to that. So it's like, I'm always healthy. Ryan is always healthy. When you have a little bit of resistance to something, that's where the problems begin.
Right. Well, yeah. And like, I don't know, for me, like at least with the health thing, I can point it back to when I got mono. Like that was the last time I was like sick, which was like high school. Like that was a long time ago. And I hated it. And like, I mean, it's just mono, but it was like a pretty fucking terrible case of it. And I hated it. I was like, I never want this again. And so that really awful experience is what kind of shifted me, I think, to be like, never again. Not happening. You know what I mean? So I'm, for me, and I don't think there's an answer that we'll come to right now, but like interested in like, okay, well, definitely I've had that like financial illness or whatever, right? And why, how, and I don't want that. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Why won't my brain look at that the way I was able to look at mono and say, never again. I will never deal with that again.
Well, you have to train it. You have to train it. And it's a daily practice. And that's the thing, people, it's just like if you go to the dentist, if you go to the dentist 2 times, I'm sorry, you brush your teeth 2 times and then go to the dentist and you're like, ta-da, your dentist is going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your breath stinks.
Absolutely.
So these are, these are hygiene practices for the money mindset. And so, and the thing is that then when you get into it, it just starts flowing. It just becomes automatic. And then you just like any skill, and I'm literally talking about training your brain. I'm talking about telling yourself law of assumption, new stories about money. For instance, I've had a lot of big bills go out this week, and the whole time not to say that I wouldn't have panicked before, but now I'm like so stoked. I'm like, I'm not even batting an eye that I have to write these checks. I'm like, how fucking cool is it that that I can do this, that I can, and my bank account's going down, but here's the thing, it's going to go right back up. And then boom, the next day, opportunity, boom, the next day. And these opportunities are just flowing into my lap. Now, mind you, has this happened before? No. Okay, so I had to train myself to get here. And we hear all this and, people, oh, yeah, okay, I've heard about it. But there are tangible steps that you can do. But like I said, you got to do them. And you got to, so it's about anything in life. It's starting and building that foundation. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can start to build. But if we don't address the root causes of the who, what's, whys, and why we're feeling a certain way, it ain't going to happen.
There's so much you said that I literally have like things written in my notes about that I want to come back at you with. No, in like a good way, actually, to support literally things that you were just saying. Well, but have we opened the episode we were going to? Because I definitely had a question for you.
Oh yeah, what was the question? Yeah, no, I was gonna sing you a song, and I sang the song.
Oh my God, weird. That's
but
so
you
funny.
You sang the song first to me, so
that's so funny. You were totally like just gonna break the ice out the gate. My bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal your thunder on that.
sync. We're in
Yeah, we
sync.
are in sync. We are in sync. Okay, so my thing that I kind of wanted to like start this with really was, which we've already begun, you guys, sorry, but was just a question to you of I I don't know, I find like I feel like we usually feel really drawn to a topic when we talk about it. And we have a massive list of topics, like
So many.
seriously, like so many fucking topics like that we can talk about. And so we're usually trying to figure out what are we going to talk about. And sometimes it's really organic or just something that we're like personally dealing with or whatever, right? So
Mhm.
when we were trying to figure this one out, I had sent Megan like a list of topics. I was like, I think these would be good ones that we could just discuss. And Megan, no hesitation, was like, money, that one.
Mhm.
Why? What drew you of all those topics? What about this one was like that one? I want to do that.
It just rang in my gut. It was like, yeah, let's talk about this because it's something that's needed. Like I think we see people if people who are following us now or watching kind of like the come up, which I truly believe we're on this come up. We're only going to keep getting bigger, faster, stronger, better. So, but it's people will see someone and be like, "Oh, it was instant." No, it wasn't. And so it's like I'm so sick of hearing people. I get almost violently like repulsed when I'm listening to my family or my friends or clients and the way they talk about money and the way they talk about, because it comes back to receiving. And so it's not, money is such an it's just one facet of a multi-dimensional either issue or something that can just be a catalyst for something so amazing in your life. And so the second you said, I think it was number 2 on the list, I came back, I thought about it. I mean, I think I sent a text back in like 2 minutes and
It
I
was
was
like
like,
so fast.
yeah, and I'm not a fast texter. Everyone knows that. I don't, like I'll look at things and I'll respond when I feel like it. But
Mhm.
it was like money. Like we need to talk about this. Venus is in retrograde. Markets are down. There's a bear market. Rawr, we've got problems. There's a recession. There's not a recession. You should get your money out of Venmo right now. I mean, just so much chaos, and you have these people who are just riding these waves of bullshit that is fabricated by who knows who. And so I am worried about none of that. I don't care what's going on anywhere. All I'm worried about is me and mine and how I am perceiving it.
It's so interesting. And like for me, this was like, because this was the probably like I would say least on the surface of it spiritual topic in that list, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because like it wasn't like, I mean, I chose that list of topics for a reason. Like it was like all of these doable, like down for all of these. But I would say of that list, it was probably like bottom of my list. But I not in like a negative way, because
Yeah.
literally I was down for it. But like uh but that to me again is just like this parallel of like, look how fast you were like money. And for me, I was like, oh, really? We're going to do the money episode now?
Yeah.
Like, and my
Yeah.
resistance to that, what the fuck, Megan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? And I know I'm not alone on that. Like, I think you're in the minority of people here who have really, like, I won't say mastered money because there's always room for improvement, but like, you really have this purity with your view on it. And I think it's a very hard space to get yourself
I don't view it as evil either. And so, I think
right.
there's a lot of views as it. It's like this is something that we need. And also, I know that the more money I have personally and within my business, the more people I'm going to be able to help. The more just how I view, like when I talk about worldwide domination, the more people that are aware of what I'm doing, the more I'm able to help. So by taking that, like negative, it's taking the negative connotations out of it. And this was not how I used to view money at all. So this has definitely been a shift in it. But I do agree that I wish that this was the norm. And it can be the norm, but just like, for instance, more millionaires were made during the Great Depression in the 1930s, whenever that was, than any other time. So when there are opportunities to be made. Broke is a mindset. And listen, I completely understand if you are working a minimum wage job and you're like, fuck you, motherfucker. Fuck you, bitch. You don't understand.
Right.
I get that. I am not discrediting that and that hard work, but what you do have is time, and we can do things to change that mindset about money. And so like it can be a very sensitive topic. And I just want to put out there that I am not saying, like, if you are struggling or, God forbid, homeless or something like that, I'm not like, hey, bitch, just think positive. Like
Right.
I don't understand. I've never been homeless, but I can empathize. But broke is a mindset, and there
It
is
is.
opportunity everywhere. You've got to train your eye to see it. So, so even if you have $5 to invest, let's do that. If you got $5 to buy a course, if you can, you can make money with your time. There has never been a better opportunity to make money in whatever you're doing. The internet is a wild place, people. You can do, I mean, you can do so much.
I think that's literally also spot on. And I am glad that you like, I guess, recognized, right, like how difficult it is. Because when you are in that space, it is very hard to think of anything else other than like your money issues, because it literally is a requirement to basically be living this life unless you choose to be a monk, which
Mm-hmm.
is a whole topic of discussion too. But like, I like some of this, it's so funny how much of this really, I think, does kind of go back to our toxic positivity stuff where like hopefully if you listen to that you don't think we're toxically positive, quote unquote, like in a negative way, like we're embracing
Mm-hmm.
that term, we're reclaiming that term, we're
Yeah.
club
TP,
TC.
baby.
Oh yeah, TP, I said TC. But like really, because it is, the mindset does matter, and sometimes it's like I think I'm trying to find ways of explaining that doesn't sound so woo woo or spiritual or like in a like something that can't be achieved, like when we just say like think positive or like it's a mindset thing, like in my brain I'm like what does that mean though, like
Well, first off, we're going to come back to you because I think you got to come back to you. Like, what's your thoughts on money? Like, so like Ryan, what do you think about, like, when you think about, like just money, like is it stressful to you? Do you have a stress response? Is it exciting? Like, what's a feeling? What are your thought processes on it?
uh overthought is my thing,
Okay.
because I think so much about it, like too much, and it's like this is where I'm like the mindset matters, but I do think that there's this like kind of like interesting faded thing that also plays out where like I didn't start as an astrologer. Like that wasn't always my career. I didn't just graduate college and then was like, I'm an astrologer now. Like I went into my field. It was a publicist
Hmm.
and like things like that. And I was badass at it. Like, and I made a lot of money. Like I was good
Hmm.
as fuck at it. And then like I remember when my dad died too, like he was a badass business owner. Honestly, I don't think I was like taught much about money though either, which I think is like also impacting me. But like he was so good. And I remember when he died, I felt this like need to step in those shoes. And like I am the one son who's like started their own businesses and like done, like I'm trying to fucking hustle and grind like my dad did. And I think I overemphasize that, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
in my, like one of the topics I have that actually is probably the thing that resonated with me the most, like at a like just heart level with this is which me, I don't know, I don't know, maybe we'll call it this. I don't know, but quote unquote the cost of a spiritual awakening, literally and
Ooh,
figuratively,
yeah.
because oh my god, that rocked my world. The spirit, like I mean, I had like been spirit, you kind of like have multiple awakenings or whatever. The biggie for me was like this really traumatic time, but it was like literally when I met the astrologer who made me realize like, oh my god, you can do this as a profession. And at that
Yeah.
time my old career was literally disintegrating, which is an important word that I might come back to if we get to it. But and this just became the thing. It's, and I still fully believe that, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, at least now, and I think for the foreseeable fucking
Mhm.
future. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is more spiritual work. But oh my god, the lack of resources available to people in a spiritual awakening. You don't know what to do, how to like
Mhm.
handle that, and it really can upend your life. And it is a very common experience for people
Mhm.
to quote unquote wake up. I hate that language, but to lose a whole lot in that process. And then to also, like, in the effort to understand it, invest what resources you have in things in the spiritual community to try and figure it out. You know what I mean? So, like,
Mhm.
I lost a fuck ton of money. I mean, like, part of that was literally getting laid off twice in a row, going on unemployment twice in a row, running out of it twice in a row, and finally, like, getting my ass kicked into gear to do spiritual work. But then that took a long time to figure out, how do I, like, actually, like, build a steady client base, which I'm still figuring out. It is very hard. But
Well,
like,
see,
it's getting better and better and better.
yeah, see, even right there, it's very hard. It's, like it's, and I get it, but that's a subconscious thing right there. I'm not discrediting it's difficult, but what we say is so important. And so, and the spiritual, so as you were talking, I kept hearing like deficit in my head, deficit, which is interesting because, I'm training for a show. What am I in right now? A caloric
Oh,
deficit. So I'm like, okay, we have a deficit. So, things are getting taken away. We're getting stripped to have it added back in. So I'm struggling with how I want to approach this conversation so we can give people like a tangible, but I love right there because you're so talented. The thing is, you're so talented. And so the fact that you think that you're struggling with a client base right now when
no. And I'm not, no. I mean, to start out, which is literally a thing, like, there's not, unless I guess you're a trust fund baby or something, there is no such thing as an astrologer who just is like, I'm now going to be a full-time astrologer. Like, it's a big thing where you transition careers. You literally just have
yeah.
to build up clients. And it's not even just in astrology. It's like, if you just go out on your own in general, you kind of like are trying to navigate that. And it's very common to be like trying
I
to do
think
two
that's
things
in
at once
business,
and whatever.
period. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I guess I think it is like naturally harder in a spiritual line of work to get clients because I think the pool of consumers is just a bit more specific. It takes a while to figure it out. It's not like viewed as an
Hmm.
essential service and all that
I do
stuff,
agree with that.
right? You
Absolutely.
know,
I think
but
it
but
has
I'm
to
doing
be that
better.
way too. Yeah, no, you're incredible.
And I guess, like, before I jump off of this real quick, is I feel like there is the difference between money, and this took a while to figure out, money and like wealth, right? Like, my wealth right now is my happiness. I am so much happier right now. I feel
Mhm.
wealthier. Physical resources are much slimmer, for sure.
Mhm.
But like that, whatever. Like, I literally wouldn't change a thing about my position right now. I feel
Mhm.
wealthier, and the clients are, of course, picking up. I'm like, I'm doing fine, like,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, but yeah, it's like I wouldn't go back to making the money I was making in that soul sucking career, because again, the cost of that was not worth
It's too high.
wasn't worth it, so like, there's these other terms that come into play, like wealth
Different
and
for
abundance,
it
right?
is, like, and
Prosperity.
what is wealth? What is abundance? And so when I first got into energy, it's like pray to Abundancia, like talk to Lakshmi. And it was like, okay, great. Now what? But what so many people like the disconnect is you can do your affirmations, which please do. Start telling yourself a new story. Talk about it in the present, but it also then requires action. And one thing that everybody has is you can control what you say. You can control your thought process because your brain has no idea. Okay, like your brain has no sense of humor and it has no sense of time. So when you think a thought, if you're yelling at somebody in the shower and giving them the business, your brain thinks that that's happening right now, and it's then going to create that reality for you right now. So that is why it is so important. Your feelings are last to get on board. So it is telling yourself this new story. It is telling yourself so in this case, money. That money loves you, that money is attracted to you, that you're magnetic, that you're charming. What is the frequency of money to you? Like, and it's going to be different for everybody. So some people, they want a simple life, so they just want to be taken care of. They want to be able to make X amount and live on their farm with their goat named Geraldo, and that's all they want to do, and that's amazing. Okay, like, and that's okay. But it's figuring out what this means to you And then we start that storyline. And so we have 70,000 thoughts a day, which is at minimum. You're not going to be able to control all those thoughts. But if all of a sudden you start obsessing over a bill, oh my God, how is Lucille going to pay this? Oh my God. Then that's what you're going to start ruminating on. And it's just going to stress you out. If your brain has no sense of humor, no sense of time. So if that is the case, we have to tell ourselves these new stories about money. So I tell myself, I mean, I'm delusional. I'll tell you straight up, like, who am I? I've been delusional. I have a one woman enterprise and I'm like, yep, I'm going to be taking over the world. Global domination, and the people who know me, no one bats an eye because but if you're listening here, you might be like, bitch, what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about? Watch me.
See, like, no, I think like your perspective on this is so fucking important because I think it is a perspective that a lot of people want to have. And I think that when you feel a resistance to your perspective on this, which is so like brute force perspective on this,
Yes.
Which I think that people feel a resistance because they don't have it, right? There's that jealousy and envy that we were even talking about in our last episode a little bit, right? And I mean, also, I think then there's a bit of a misjudgment that goes on because you don't know how much Megan's making. You don't know. What you know is her mindset right now. So like, don't judge her. You don't know how much she's making. I don't even know how much Megan's making, like whatever. But like, I don't know. But yeah, I think like your perspective is so important, but I think it's important because it's going to challenge a whole lot of people.
And that's what I want. If that inner gremlin is rising up, good. If you're feeling that and it's just coming up through your chest, I like that we're in a good spot because I'm challenging you. And this is what I do with my clients. So, but it's important to figure out where you're at with this concept, how you feel about it, how you feel about yourself. Are you in a spot of receiving? But the disconnect is action. And we all can take some, so what can you do? You can, like I said, start to change your mindset. Oh, even talking about when you hear people talk about luck, if somebody's like, oh, my luck is never good. No, all of these are on the same frequency, guys. So I'm like, I'm the luckiest bitch that ever lived. Okay. I'm the baddest motherfucker of all time. Now, in my reality, I'm the main character here. So that is true. Okay. And that should be true for your reality. You should be the baddest motherfucker. Cue Samuel L. Jackson, do whatever you need to, but you should be the man, the woman, the they in your reality. Okay. If someone else is taking center stage, we already got a problem. Come back to you. And as cliche as it is, you have to love yourself. You have to know that you're worthy of this. I am worthy of this money. I am worthy of this gift, this attention. Like I have no doubt that at some point you and I are going to be in a podcast bubble together in the same studio, sponsored by who knows what, getting paid bazillions. I'm going to manifest that for you and me until we get there, and it's just, it's all about telling yourself. Now your feelings are last to get on board though. And that's what fucks everyone up. You think a thought and have an emotion. You're not just spontaneously emoting all over the place. Okay. So when you think that thought and you have that emotion, boom, we got to catch it. And that's where it's like, no, I'm very aggressive with any sort of negative self-talk because it is so incredibly detrimental because it shapes your entire reality.
Oh yeah, totally. Perception is reality, right? I think I literally wrote that in my notes.
Oh man. One day we got to get this all on video because your eyes go.
I know, because there's so much to it. I mean, I'm just an overthinker in general, but like there's so much nuance and I'm trying to figure out how to explain this in a way because it's like, this is funny because it's like I can actually put myself in that mindset where I know exactly what to do, and like to the point where I'm confident enough talking to my clients about money and when they're struggling with it and like, here is the toolkit, here's everything you can do. We can look at the earth energy in your chart, what's going on in the second house, what's Venus one. I can like easily coach someone through that process, yet like everything is always so personal. And like for me, in a way, it's almost like my birth chart truly with the Pisces there, and my North Node is there with Mars. in Pisces in my second house. North Node is a difficult thing to grow into, and it's like a ever evolving thing of figuring it out. And with Pisces, you got to surrender. So like just for me personally, it's like, okay, I might know all these things and I might literally be able to put myself in that space. But for me, I almost feel like when I over focus on it, negatively for sure, but even positively, like I feel like it's too much emphasis. Like I'm thinking too hard about it or something. So I'm learning, I think, to kind of surrender a little bit more. Like the wherever Pisces is in your chart, you're kind of learning to like go with the divine flow, trust in the universe more, just like trust it will work versus like I am rich, I am lucky, I am like I don't think I need to, for me, I don't think that it actually benefits me to over focus on it like and try to control it. Pisces
So
has a
one thing
lack
for
of
like
control.
a thinker like you can do why is like, why am I so lucky? Why
Oh,
is
I
my life
love
so
that. Yeah.
amazing? Like why? Because the minute, so you can also ask yourself better questions. So instead of the minute, if you are encountering something that you want to purchase and you say to yourself, I can't afford that, then your brain shuts down. It's like, okay, well, if we can't do that, I'm not going to try and problem solve for you. We can't afford it. Let me go stress about something else. So what you can ask though is, how can I afford this? And then all of a sudden you will sometimes even feel a little tingly in your brain. And it's like, all right, well, let's see. And then that creates new avenues. How can I afford this? What about this? Like, what about this? And then you start, you start weighing different options. So there's the why. And then also, I mean, I'm a full psycho with this. I have my voice recorded on loop saying different affirmations paired with binaural beats. And I like, so when I am falling asleep and I'm in that theta brainwave state and I'm starting to then go into that delta brainwave state, all my subconscious is hearing is my voice for 8 hours, just telling myself all sorts of crazy stuff, that I am a winner, that I am amazing. Like opportunities are flowing to me. They're here. Everything is coming effortlessly. So it's not just about, I am rich, I am wealthy. I mean, you can do that, but I have a variety. I mean, I've got, pages of pages of pages on this app. And I'm essentially hypnotizing myself at night into believing this. And so then when something comes and tries to like in my reality, I'm like, that's not even an issue for me. Like, I reject that. Get out of here.
This is so funny to me. Like just thinking of your, like, I don't even need to pull up your chart. I just know it. But really like it's so dead on for your experience with this of your Mars and Venus, Mars being action, passion, like really focus. But then it's with Venus, planet of money, right? In Aries, I am in your fourth house where we go to sleep at night. Literally, it's your bedroom. Okay. And it's a very subconscious space. So you reprogram, like it works for you to do this. And even like then that means your second house is ruled by Aquarius. Aquarius is very innovative, ahead of the curve. Like it's the genius, right? So you with money and this stuff, you're gonna get it in a way I just don't think a lot of people are gonna pick it up, like, and I think that's amazing for you, like it's literally amazing. And it's also funny because like I think you probably get to take a more active approach. Your money house and your Venus sign are both masculine signs. So I think, and you're like very like go money, but you're also not wrong. The money is you got to be receptive of the allowing of it too. I think is also really interesting. Like that, like I think that's more of where I have to be. My Venus is retrograde. It's in a masculine sign, but it's retrograde. My house of money is ruled by fucking Pisces. Like I am learning on the allowing, right? Receiving help and resources of any kind, really. It's not even just money, really. Like there's so much to this.
Well, and even like right before you go, like right when you go to sleep, and right when so y'all who are listening to like murder podcasts before you go to sleep, that's what you're programming your subconscious for. Knock it off, psychos. What the hell is, who hurt you that you find comfort in murder before bed? I'm worried about a lot of my friends because that is not the way to relax. But that's what you're priming your mind for. So right before you go to bed, and so you don't have to listen to your voice on, like if that's not your cup of tea. But what you can do is like invoke a warm fuzzy feeling if that's what you need. What would it be like? Because here's the thing: money is freedom. And so let's get behind that. Everyone can get behind the feeling of freedom. So money is freedom. What does that feel like for you? And so, but telling yourself or thinking about or visualizing, all people can get behind visualizing, because you are literally visualizing your life. Once again, your brain has no sense of humor. So if you are, we tend to think about the negative things and play out in our head all the bad things that could happen. Knock that off. Say, okay, I see you. You want to recognize it. There's a reason why it's here. I recognize you, but I don't want to identify with it. And this is a trait from evolution. Okay. Like, we had to seek out the negativity. Cavemen weren't like, oh my God, it's a beautiful day, honey. It's like, no, saber-tooth tiger, death, destruction. You had to be on the lookout at all times because you'd be eaten by a big fucking thing that could, oh my God.
Money didn't exist then, to be honest.
And now we're the safest we've ever been. So your brain's like, shit, what am I gonna do? Let me create some chaos and havoc up in this joint. Stress, anxiety. So when you first go to bed or when you're laying down, start, thinking about the things, thinking about good things, maybe just feelings. And when you wake up, don't get on your damn phone. That's going to, I know it's so hard. This is a hard one for me. It drains your dopamine. But the minute I wake up, I start running through my gratitude list. Everybody, because that's also on the same frequency, guys. Gratitude. So I'm like, damn, I am so grateful for X, Y, and Z. I got my little kitty cat curled up to me, purring. Oh my God. Like, it's a great day. Today I woke up and I was like, I get to record with you. I'm about to go to the gym. My glutes are popping. I mean, like, it's just whatever you're grateful for. Just put it out there.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah. And like, I think that's one of those universal practices, honest to God, that's going to basically, like, I mean, it's even scientifically proven, like, it will just benefit your life, like probably your money too, especially if you're being like, I think that's like you could get specific with the gratitude to money, right? Like, be grateful that you can pay a bill. Every time you pay a bill, every time a check comes in, say that you're grateful. Literally, right before we recorded this, I had somebody book a reading, and I literally like took a second in front of Megan.
Yeah,
right in front of Megan. I'm like, thank you, universe. I'm very grateful for that. Please send more. Like, these things really do help, and it just shows an appreciation. And there's like literally no harm to that. Otherwise, though, I do think that like many things, you just got to figure out what works for you too. Like what works for you may not work for everybody else, and I do think the feeling is an important thing, right? Like, you can have an idea for something, but the feeling into it is important. So like, I just thinking back to like when you were saying, like, the internet's the wild, wild west. You can make money so many ways. If you're listening to this and you're like, how? Like, what do I do? What do I do? Think, like, don't put the pressure on yourself. Take the pressure off. Number one, don't freak. And don't think that it's going to happen immediately, but like literally go to YouTube and just watch those videos of people who do those fun challenges where it's like, I started with $5 on Monday, and let's see where I can get that to grow by Friday.
And now I have a house.
People.
Yeah.
Watch people like do this stuff, or like I mean, like, I have so many TikToks saved to people who just are like making bank, like on weird little jobs online or something, just because it's such a cool energy to like watch people just like find something online that works for them. There's a lot out there, but like, even just like looking it up and letting yourself know the possibility exists. That's all you can do first. That's okay.
Open to, like, exactly, if you're super resistant to that, and that's okay. But note that. And Gary V, he said, he was like, if you love Friends, for instance, and that's your passion. So many people are like, okay, how do I make money? How do I make money? And that's a frequency of lack. What do you like? What do you love? What do you hate? What angers you? And also, what are you passionate about? So Gary V said, if you love Friends, okay, then, and that's your jam. There's a whole, just like Seinfeld, there's a whole just genre of humans who love this. If you love the Notorious B.I.G., okay, start a podcast. Like, put that out relatively easy if you have an internet connection. And then, and that's something that you're passionate about, that you enjoy. Anger is also something great. What got me started in my business is I was so damn sick of seeing people not fulfill their potential. And I was like, how do I help people realize and see what I see? And so for me, like, anger was a great catalyst, because I was so annoyed because I was like, how do you not see how brilliant you are? How do you not see how amazing you are? Okay, well, I'm gonna help you.
Yeah. That's God, your astrology is like so dead on with this stuff. Like that is, I think the anger is Mars, number one, in Aries, the sign of rules, but it's with your Venus. So you're using that as fuel with other people. You're
Mhm.
literally inspiring other people. And it's in your fourth house, the root of the chart. It's literally like doing it from within out, like from the foundation of the person up, like transforming
Yeah,
the life. It's
we're
important.
gonna totally redo the foundation. So what are your insecurities? What makes you, you know, like what are your fears? If you don't know what scares you, what your insecurities are, what your fears are, then they're gonna come and haunt you. They're gonna get you. You got to be real. We can talk all this positive mumbo jumbo, which I truly believe in, but you got to look into the cellar. You got to look into the dark side of yourself. You know, if I'd never addressed that I was an addict, then you know, like I wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this. You've
Mm-hmm.
got to know, like, okay, these are some things that I have to work on. You know, like, oh, I know what the things. I hopefully you know what you're good at, what you know. And if you don't know, then go to someone who loves you, not a family member. Okay, but go to a friend and be like, what are my strengths? What are
Mm-hmm.
my attributes? What's great about me? You know, what do you love about me? Also, where do you think I can? Where am I struggling? Is there a blind spot that I'm not seeing? And be prepared, you know, tell them to be honest. And also you don't you dare get mad. You can't ask these questions to somebody and then get your feelings hurt. Use this then as knowledge, as the foundation to then start building. Okay, here are my strengths. Here, you know, like here are my weaknesses. And then but you got to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And so many people
Oh,
are afraid to do that. And if you're afraid to know yourself, you ain't gonna make no money.
so true. Oh my God, I have so much to say about all of this. It's like wild to me. I really do. I've got like so many ways I want this to go. I think I want to do it, and like the thing I'll respond to that with is um if like if you're struggling to like, I don't know, some of this is even going back to last episode, right? The acceptance of where are you right now? If you are not in
Mm-hmm.
an okay space financially right now, how can you come to a point of acceptance about that so you can actually be more productive and do something with it? Like it's a better state versus the stress of it, right? I remember that, and I learned this I don't remember who, but it was like a spiritual teacher who basically said when you're like financially like down and out, somebody's always got it worse. And it's not about like drawing attention to the person who has it worse than you necessarily, but the element of contrast is so important to keep you in a grateful space. But not only just to be like, oh, I'd walk past a homeless person and be like, well, at least I got a roof over my head. Like, not dicky like that. What are you doing about that now? Like, do something. Like, for example, I literally had like a whole year of um just like struggling with this. And as much as I was like, I have no money, like I am like so fucking broke. Could you get any broker? I made a commitment to myself that every time I walked past a homeless person and I had change in my pocket, I gave it to them. I gave what
Mm-hmm.
I could, you know what I mean, to someone who needed it
Mm-hmm.
more. And I
Yeah.
literally noticed benefits from that. I'm not saying it was apples to apples and I just got my money back tenfold, but I got wealth back. Like
Yeah.
I got better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of that shit. So like I think that there's those practices too where you're like in those darker spaces and it
Oh,
helps you know yourself,
100%.
right? Like if you're just
Mhm.
looking at the lack in the bottomless pit, you're not that's not you. That's not you. That's a
Mhm.
thing that's happening and like go do something good with yourself because that's where you're going to find yourself, you know?
Giving is so important, and so to that, you know, if I see someone on the corner and or and you're asking for money, and I have it, if I got a buck, if I got $5, if I got $10, I'm giving it to you. And then there's that little gremlin in me that's like, oh well, you know, like that guy, he has pretty nice shoes. That's a nice
Uh-huh.
sign, you know, like, but it's not about him. It's about the fact that I have this 5, 10, 20, $100 isn't going to fuck me up. And this person is asking for it. You know, like what they do with it is none of my business, but I'm in a position to help somebody and I'm going to do that. And
And with
so,
a pure heart, right? I think that's always
mhm.
a difficult thing too, of the like no expectation in return, right? Like if you're doing it thinking like I'm gonna build up a karmic piggy bank here, God's gonna bless me after this, like, nah, you're gonna
No,
get
and there's so in Charleston, you come off the Ravenel Bridge, and there's an exit on, you're turning left onto East Bay, and a lot there, there would be a homeless person there, or somebody asking for money. And so the other day I was down there, I had a 5, and this guy, he was like, "That's it," and it was just like, I got so pissed because it was like, and I didn't have time. I was, what am I fuss at this fella? But I'm fuming because I was like, you took away, in my mind, I was like, not that I was expecting, but like, that's it. But then it was like, well, Megan, what were you expecting? Because it's not about him. Once again, I was in a position, this $5 wasn't gonna fuck me up, but there was something about that still, like, I've been stewing. That was just like a lack of gratitude. It was like, what the dude? Come on.
Oh
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Like that's nuts.
Yeah, that burned my biscuits. But also, manners is something that, please, thank you, is just something that I'm big on personally. So I think that's where I say excuse me to an aunt.
Yeah.
Like, pardon me, sir. So
Mm-hmm.
but it's all about it. It's all about coming back to how you feel, where you're at, what are you thinking. These are all things that we can control. It doesn't matter your financial situation. It does not matter. You can control these 3 things.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's like, and when you feel like you can't, when you're down and you literally can't even take those steps that are productive for you, that we're telling you are productive for you, it's okay in my mind. But then it's like, well, then just go get inspired by something. Like literally just like remember the fact, like Megan said, that the most millionaires came about in the Great Depression. People make the underdogs make their fortunes in an economic downturn because they are forced to get creative. Like there are all these inspiring stories. If you're in that shithole position right now, there is an endless amount of stories that you can go search right now to see who pulled themselves out of it, whether it seemed like a lucky break or they worked for it. Who cares? Just know that it can happen for you. Like keep that in mind. At least if you can't do anything else, just get inspired and know that the possibility is there. I think that's fucking fundamental.
Recognize where you are at. I'm not saying don't deny reality. Be delusional about yourself, but we're not going to deny reality. Recognize the situation that you find yourself in, but do not identify with it. And that's where people have such a hard issue with. So I recognize that this is not a great place to be, but I'm not identifying with the fact that X, Y, and Z. I'm not identifying that I'm a broke loser. I'm not identifying with what people are saying about me. You then, okay, I recognize this spot, but boom, I'm moving forward. And everything in the world responds to action. And the thing is that what's dangerous about where we are as a society now is inaction. Sitting on your couch, hoping somebody's going to save you. Mel Robbins said it. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody. You got to save yourself. And you can do it. You have the tools, but nobody's coming to save you. You are not a princess. You are not a prince. By waiting, you are squandering the most valuable commodity we have, which is time. You don't know you're gonna be here tomorrow.
Yeah. I just think like I feel like, and I mean, of course, everything's a projection, but like, so this is definitely like, I think a thing I dealt with was that I don't know where to begin thing. So I think that's why I just keep going, almost like going back to it, because I'm like, I feel like so many people are just going to be in that position. Like, it's just so normal to be in that position, especially right now. Like, right? Like, nobody cared about the fucking aliens, like, because everybody can't pay rent, It's like, it's just like, it is so hard to like envision having, I think, even like the attitude that you have about this. Like, it feels so far removed from my reality.
So step 1, identify what your fears and insecurities are. Like that is step 1, because we got to know what we're dealing with. Also your strengths, your attributes. Look at it yourself and ask a trusted confidant, somebody who cares about you and loves you, but not your mom or your dad or somebody who has got like an inflated sense. You definitely, but you want somebody who can see you clearly. That's step 1.
And I think just understanding, like, oh my God, like, as much as you want to make like the contrast, I think with maybe someone who has less than you is important to recognize. I also think then the contrast with somebody who's got more than you can really knock you down and make you feel bad. Like, I'm not there and all of that sort of stuff, right? Like, I think don't do that, and don't compare yourself, and don't think, well, they did it this way, so that's what I'm going to try and do. Explore, like literally explore all options. Like it's going to take a minute to find what works for you. Just
Oh,
like it takes a minute for people to
absolutely.
find the right therapist for them, or the right medication to treat their depression, or whatever it is, right? Like go explore and see what you get drawn to. I think really take the pressure off of yourself to have to do one certain thing, because really what works for you might be different from someone else. One thing that I found that I can't give any actual advice about this because I need to look it up more, but I think it's so interesting. And I felt very drawn to this for some reason when I was researching about this, was financial feng shui, which I've already known about. Like you can put plants in certain corners of your home and all that. That feels big to me though. Like, I don't know how to set up my whole home in a feng shui space to like facilitate. But then I saw this thing that was like, literally you can feng shui your wallet, putting like certain cards in
Oh,
certain
I like
positions,
that.
right? Like
Yeah.
that is so small. What an easy to manage step, like to put like a certain like cash in front of the plastic card or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but that's an actual thing. You can feng shui your purse, your wallet for money.
I have citrine and carnelian in my wallet. And also, like, I'll talk into my water. I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
like they're just little things that you can do. I'll blow cinnamon into my front door on the
Yeah.
first of every
Yeah.
month.
Yeah. That's the one like a lot of people are doing, I feel like.
Yeah.
There's literally so much. Maybe you're a witchy person, there's hella spells. Like
Hmm.
I like came prepared with a couple books, like just to like, which I'll just like link in the show notes. I mean, there's like I think the two traditional ones are like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and like Think and Grow Rich, right? Like everybody always cites those fucking books.
Yeah, Napoleon
Um,
Hill was on. I mean, Napoleon Hill did study like all the big wigs, like this was 1928 people. I mean, like it's
mhm.
not like so I think it was Andrew Carnegie who took him underneath his wing and and he was able to, which is a hell of an opportunity. 1928. It's not like you could slide into Jesse Itzler's DMs, who's my favorite billionaire. Oh my god, he's married to Sarah Blakely. I love them. They Sarah Blakely, she made up Spanx. You want to get inspired, women, go. If you don't know about Sarah Blakely, oh my god, I would love to have them on the show. After Brene Brown, our Lord and Savior. By the way, that was the best. Ryan was like, I have a surprise for you. And when I clicked to listen to our last podcast and heard that, oh, incredible. You're incredible.
um, I feel like just what you did there is also like an important thing to note. That's just so natural to Megan now, right? Of like, that's my favorite billionaire. I love them. They're incredible. Like because it's very natural to look at someone who has more than you and be those lower feelings of like jealousy, of like all that shit, right? Don't think that. And of course, there are billionaires kind of just in general as a class suck, like obviously. But like if someone has more than you, don't like notice if you're feeling like a negative feeling toward them because of that, and instead like how can you be happy for them and their success, and like get inspired by it and excited, even if you gotta fucking force yourself, which again, toxic positivity episode, we know works. Forced feelings do work. Like
I'm
force
telling you, go
yourself.
check them out. They got a hell of a story. Sarah started Spanx with $5,000. I mean, she was selling door to door fax machines or copy machines. She's so bubbly. I mean, like it's incredible. And then Jesse Itzler is he's the one, he promotes this concept Musagi, I believe. It's a Japanese concept where you do something really hard once a year. I mean, so whether it's running a marathon or just something nuts and just wildly outside of your comfort zone, and once a year, this is what you're doing. I think that's what he does. I'm not sure if that's exactly what Musagi translates to, but I love it. Shake, you want to feel alive? Get outside the four walls of your home. Try something new. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to go climb Everest, but you know what? You can walk into a coffee shop and introduce yourself to a stranger. You can try something new. There are so many ways to just jolt your reality that then is like, damn, I feel alive. And then you get that dopamine hit, that serotonin, and then you're going to continue to be like, ooh, look at this. Look at this. And it doesn't matter if you win or fail, if you absolutely fucking suck at it. the fact that you try it. That's why this monthly club that I'm doing, people come to boxing. So I have a boxing event that happens once a month. People leave, they're intimidated. They walk in, I've never fought anyone. You're not fighting anyone. You're getting out some aggression. My buddy Chris is a great instructor, and people leave here like, oh my God, I'm a badass motherfucker. And it's getting outside of your comfort zone and trying something new. It can be as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And again, it's like, even if you can't bring yourself to do that, then go follow people who are doing those things. Like literally, you know, like get on social media, look at the people who are actually doing this shit so you can get inspired and realize how plausible it is to be able to be that person who's doing it. It's literally so simple.
And I would also like to note, though, because I know that it's like, I do have this bravado. You can do everything. I have social anxiety, guys. Like, I have to, there are times I went to try a new gym yesterday and I had to sit in the car for 3 minutes and pump myself up and be like, yep, you got it. And to walk through the front door of the gym, that, mind you, no one was there. Okay. So for 3 minutes, I'm like, you can talk. Sometimes it happens. I will get nervous in situations. So, but I talk myself through it, and then I make myself, and that's the difference. You got to, so I know that hearing me sometimes it's like, oh, she does. No, I do struggle with these things from time to time, but it's a matter of, I pull my big britches up and I'm like, listen, I had to, like, I'm Swedish and Norwegian and Finnish. I'm all these things. My people were like doing weird stuff in the cold, just trying to survive for years and years. I can't walk through the door of a fucking gym and say, hello, I'm here to work out. That's crazy. Get it together.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's okay. Yeah. But like, yeah, everybody's going to have their like shit, right? Like, I'm sorry, like, but the money thing is something you've got like very much more figured out than I think a lot of other people. So I think like good for you for being so fucking confident about it.
It's a daily practice. I've been hypnotizing myself though at night for over a year and a half. It's a daily practice. And so I don't allow myself to get into that poverty. And if I catch myself, I say, well, that's not my reality. I'm not, fuck that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Like, so one thing I wanted to kind of like talk about, and I didn't know, I guess, like how to do it, but like, or how to explain, I guess, my thoughts on this, because I've definitely like come a long way with like the money mindset stuff and like recognizing wealth, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you can compartmentalize these things. Like, I can work on my money mindset. I can do these things knowing we live in this capitalist society and we need it. Like, right? Like we gotta fucking live. And I can do that. I think, honest to God, one of my holdups, and that I'm still very much learning how to compartmentalize these two things, is that I'm also fully just believe in my soul that like I am one of those people who needs to fucking take the system down. Like, I know how fundamentally flawed it is. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that you're that type of person. Maybe like it's not on like a sole responsibility for you, right? So maybe you're able to align with that energy of abundance like a little easier. For me, I can play in the system, right? Like, I'm learning that I can do that. I can have this money mindset. I can do these things. But I also have to look at like the serious fucking need for this all to change. That's been a serious struggle for me, and like on a soul end with just like this profession. I think like on a bigger end, even it's like really funny that people in the spiritual community are like notoriously poor as fuck. No matter how much like money manifestation they spit, like it's a very like not lucrative field, you guys. Like, just like for the just calling it what it is, right? Doesn't mean you can't, that it should be that way and that we can't change it. But it's funny that happens. And I think like for me, I can only speak for myself. I was very, 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 very fast picking up astrology and how to figure out how to do it like in a reading style thing, like I was always into it, but like structuring that, making a business out of it, I went 0 to 100. I picked it up so fast. I'm saying this because that's often like a lot of astrologers think like when things like that happen, or just like if you're an astrologer and you're doing well at it, you're cutting through the noise or whatever, which I'm proudly fucking doing, it means you did it in a past life. And one of the very first things that I ever learned from the astrologer who got me into this profession is that ancient astrologers used to do this for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this thing in me, and I haven't recalled a past life like of this, but it's just what I feel is that I was an astrologer in a past life, probably at some point where it was a like civic duty of an astrologer. Like they were literally looked at like priests and like people in
Mm-hmm.
society that did goodwill work, right? And they were taken care
Yeah.
of in other ways. Like currency wasn't what we now have, it's capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this part of me that I initially was so resistant about charging, right? Like that took a lot for me to even ask people for money for this. Like I had to have like be forced into it by one of my friends actually. She was like, you need to fucking just ask people for money now. That was hard to come into. And then to figure out what do I value myself at. And like then like when I upped my prices the first time, I remember you talked to me about that and had to encourage me to do that.
Yeah.
Like it's hard and it's not like I had resistance. I don't have the resistance to that anymore in the way that I did because I can compartmentalize the money mindset. I know that I need that. I have to live. I have to, in order to make an impact, I gotta fucking have money and I need to like be able to like put resources into my business and
Mm-hmm.
do all these things. I'm working on that for sure. But I also still just like fundamentally know like this isn't how it should fucking be. Like in my view,
Yeah.
I don't think why do we have this? And I did look up some of the historical stuff. Like weirdly, currency only grew because organized religion grew. Go fucking figure.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so like I mean, it before that, it was a barter system, which there's so much I want to say about the barter system thing. Um, but I'll kind of like stop there. But that's one thing that I want to say. Like for me, it's nuanced. Like with you, I think you're like, and it's so amazing. And I like refute any feeling of jealousy of like your like I wish like part of me was like I really fucking wish in the same way that I'm like I wish I didn't have to be an astrologer, like where I'm like oh
Yeah.
god it just feels like it'd be like easier to like not be this fucking weirdo, but like I wish that I could just like fucking rock a money mindset, but there's this other thing in me that just like is different, it's separate from the money mindset. It took me a
So
minute to
you
figure out
think that's
that they
a
were
so do you
separate.
think that's so do you because there are two schools of thought on that. Is it like, okay, this is something within your soul, or is this a program belief system?
It wasn't because I'm from a entitled background. I'm from a
Uh-huh.
privileged background. I am the one in my family who had the fall from grace out of like
Yeah.
abundance. Like I am going through this for a reason to not
Yeah.
rely on it so much. This is not how it's supposed to be. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm learning to live okay, like on a certain level of means, right? Like, and be happy with where I'm at and the little bits that I have. Be more grateful with
Mm-hmm.
myself. Like, it feels very soulful. There isn't a resistance in me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there really isn't. I feel like it comes off that way.
Well, just asking because the way you positioned it, it was like, okay, because like, is it because if it's a soul thing, like who can refute that?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it doesn't make sense. It's hard to like put that into words, and then like that's where like I overthink money then. And when I was on this journey initially with my lack mindset and trying to grow, like
Yeah.
I didn't understand how to basically separate these things, but I've really come into that. I'd say in the past like year, my money mindset has just improved while I've continued to realize like,
Your worth and all sorts of stuff.
yeah, there's a different level of wealth. Well, money does buy happiness in many, many ways, but also there's other forms of happiness. And I literally am living proof of that. I'm happier than when I had money.
It's interesting too because like when you're saying, like I refute being, jealous of this mindset coming back. I mean, I mentioned this in the last episode. When you see somebody who has something that you want, like one, like, okay, but I switch my mindset. If someone has something or receives something that I desire, then I'm like, I'm on that fucking frequency, boy. Like, so that means I'm exactly where I need to
Mhm.
be. Additionally, when it comes to like where I'm going, I'm taking my people, so like you're riding with me. Like I said, the more
The
I tried to make
team.
it, yeah, I tried to make a vision board for my phone the other day, just so I could, a background for my screen. And I'm looking at all these things, like cars, the things that you would normally think, like houses, this, that, and none of it fucking resonated with me because I
Mm,
was like, I'm going to buy whatever I want. That's fine. But I'm after like what I can do for people with this money. And there's no fucking picture there. I'm after what I'm going to create with you and with my team and with where, you know, like, and it's like, I can't, it was a feeling. And I'd never had that before. Before I'd made these vision boards
Yeah,
and I would go crazy about like, oh, they were going to have this. And it was like, no, this wealth, this money, this frequency, it's what I'm going to be able to do for people. And it was
absolutely.
such a cool feeling because I was like, so say you can't get on this train that I'm on, or, you know, there's resistance. Find yourself a me or get with us, get under clairvoyance, because we're going to be giving, you know, like I said, we are stronger together. We are stronger as a group. And so it's going from that I, me to a we mentality.
Fuck yes, it is. Literally, right. Again, you are the 5 people you surround yourself with. So it's good to be like with people who are inspiring you, right? Like not it's not the
110%.
jealousy thing. And there are a lot of dicks in the world who make their money and they're dicks and they don't do good things with it and whatever. And like those probably aren't then the people that you want to be surrounding yourself with. But like literally just like what you said, like you want resources and you're grateful when you get resources because of what you want to do with the fucking resources. Like that's a level of working with money and money mindset that fucking matters. And it is spiritual. It is like it's helping people, it's helping the world. Like that, what a great reason to want money. And like I just think that's really beautiful. And it's interesting. Like I literally just read for a client too, talking about this, where we were talking about just this idea of kind of like value and self-worth because of Venus retrograde. So funny we're having this conversation in a Venus retrograde where people are literally thinking about money and self-worth. But I was saying, like, you know, 10 years ago, if you asked me, like, if I had like $10 million, what would I do? I would have been like, buy a mansion. I want a mansion. I want to live in a mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the way that like your values are allowed to change and you can
Yeah.
accept that some you don't maybe want certain materialistic things that you used to want, probably because your soul's grown, your heart's grown a bit. You realize the like farce of that
Yeah.
fucking mansion that's taking up way more of a carbon footprint than it needs to or whatever. Like your values have changed and that's okay. I think
Yeah.
living in integrity with your values is really important.
Super important. To me, money is freedom, and it allows you to move effortlessly throughout life, and it gives you the ability to help others to do so. And this is the first time I've ever gotten into this spot of feeling with money, and I
Mm.
directly attribute it to, like I said, the work that I've done. But and it feels good because like, because I
Mhm.
mean, like the ideas that were flowing through me as I was trying to make this vision board, like what we're gonna do, where we're gonna
Mhm.
go, and it was we. And prior to this, it had always been me. And so, and that was an internal switch. I didn't think about it. Yeah, like that is just
Yeah.
how it. So I was like, oh shit, this is what they talk about. This
Right.
is it.
And that's really interesting because I think like you also know the difference between me, and I am. There's an
Mm-hmm.
empowerment with I am to know that you can then help a we. You know, like it's not
Yeah.
me. You're not I am because of me. You know, like I
Yeah.
don't know if that's making sense to anybody. It's
No, it
not
makes
making sense to
perfect
you, but
sense.
yeah, like it's a cool, you can still be, it's not, it's centered in the self, not self-centeredness, right? Like not this conceited level of things. It's like
Exactly.
you know yourself. It's authenticity right there.
Exactly. And you have to be a good, like I watched my family, like I grew up middle class, and then, like then my dad did really well with his business. And then 2008 happened and he was a contractor. So you can guess where that went. And so I watched this like fluctuation of, like of stress and money and what that does. But it's just, you have these aha moments where people say something, and, listening to him be very candid about and talking about these times, it was very humbling. He's a Capricorn, like, so it was a very, it was a gut wrenching experience to watch people that you love. And also, like, I'm going through it too, but I was able to kind of remove myself. But he said, you have to be a good steward of wealth. You have to be a good steward, and you do, like, so if you're going to be blessed by anything in life, you have to be a good steward of it. Because you might only get an opportunity once. You might only get twice. You might only have this window of time where you're able to do what you need to do. And so that really stuck with me.
The synchronicities of this conversation are really mind-blowing to me, because there's this one client I have who has an agriculture business, and he says that his like line is that he's a steward of the land, money, all earth energy, like, so it's like he's like literally making great money because he treats the earth so well. I think that's really interesting. It's like, and like kind of going back to our like elemental conversation of like, everything boils down to the 4 elements, like just like it always has technically. So really we're discussing earthly energy. So like, how are you treating the earth? If your money's not right, how are you treating your body? Are you like the person who litters? Is your space a mess? Like look at all these other earthly things that just are of the same element, of the most base fundamental little component that money is also in that bucket with, like,
Yeah.
I think looking at that stuff's pretty fucking important. Like, I don't want that mansion anymore. Like when I've kind of like abandoned those weird materialistic earthly desires, my money has gotten better. Related to that I think is really interesting, basically going back to like one of the first things that you I think said here, which was you have to receive, right? Like be open
Yeah.
to the receptivity of it. Receptivity is a feminine quality. It's that phrase from my favorite book is Perks of Being a Wallflower. We accept the love we think we deserve. Same with money. We accept the money then that we think we deserve. But I'd never actually, as much as I knew receptivity, I never literally just looked at it like as a feminine quality until in my research here, Juno was a goddess who is like, I don't know, and we don't look at Juno a ton in a birth chart reading because it's an asteroid, but like it's interesting because it is like very indicative of like marriage and relationships, like much more specific than Venus.
Oh,
A
wow.
little more overarching. But also I had no idea. I've only ever known of Juno as like the love marriage type, but was also a goddess completely associated with money. I had no idea, but also femininity and fertility was like 2 of
Wow.
her tenets. And that to me like hit me like a brick wall, because I think the receptivity is like fucking vital for people to like try and flip their mindset into, because I think we look at money like masculine because it's like kind of the way that capitalism feels like, and
Yeah.
like the men at the top and like that brute like energy of like go after it, like all this shit. Receive femininity and also the fertility, like I'm bringing all this up because it kind of your steward element, and
Yeah.
like that client I had who was a steward of the land, and he's literally like getting investors like knocking his door down, because he's treating the earth so fucking well. That's his business model, is treat the fucking earth well. So like, it's like this is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, look at your fertility. What are you doing there? What is the femininity like in your life? Not feminine like female, but like your ability to receive. Period.
Yeah. Exactly. Can you receive a compliment? Can you receive, like if somebody offers to do you a favor, and you need it, can you take that? No, 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 I got it. No.
Yes. And
Like take the
yes.
fucking favor. Say thank you and shut up. Don't loft a compliment back. You're pretty. Oh, you're so pretty. No. If you need help with groceries coming up the stairs, and somebody who's a non-threatening pervert is like, hey, let me help you with this bag, take the help, and then give it back. It's a push pull, because you have to be receiving, but also there's just you also have to, actionate. You gotta, so it's this push and pull energy when it
Both.
comes that you
Yeah.
gotta do.
Are you like overdoing it in one area? Because I would assume people listening to this are of like on a spiritual path, right? I would
Mhm.
hope so. And I'm gonna guess, like for me at least, with that, like the acceptance of something is difficult. Like in the most mundane of ways. Like at a bar, I am totally the person who's going to want to be a giver. Like I'm going to be like, oh, let me get your drink, like I'll just like
Yeah.
do that. Somebody offers me a drink, I'm like, oh my god, no, you don't need to get me a drink. No, 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 no. And look at me devaluing myself there. Like no, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I'm not worthy of like you spending $12 on me. Like
Mhm.
what
I
is
just spent
that? What the fuck is
48
that?
on you.
And
Yeah.
and I think that's important because it is the fucking balance here of like, we great if you're a giver, great, I know I am. But if that's at the expense of everything that I have, like I'm not taking care of me, then I am like cleaning out my cup and
Yeah.
my resources. It's like amazing that you are like saying like we, but you also are so fucking in tune with the receptivity that's needed to continue to nourish yourself as well, you know, so you can then continue to give back. If you're just a giver, that's not really helping anybody.
Well, and I've been called selfish a lot, like I have been called because like I'm not in the mood to talk on the phone. I don't want to do this, I don't want to. And because I'm, a woman, like it's like, what? It's like, no. And no is a complete sentence. And I will not be elaborating. And so I can be a very catalyzing, a very triggering, I'm a manifester in human design, a very polarizing person in people's lives because it's like, I have to do me first in order to make sure that we're all good. So take that. If that upsets you, that's on you, boo boo. And it's not that I don't get upset. I mean, I do struggle with it. I am a human, like I do get
Mhm.
upset when I upset people. But at the end of the day, I intuitively know that I have to choose me. And so, and then it's like, and then I can serve you.
Dude, 100%. Do you want to know like another poetic thing with this for me that I did like connect the dots on, like when I was really looking into this episode, was I put out a TikTok relating, and I kind of talked about it here, but I don't think I said it in the same words, but relating, Venus to Lucifer. Venus is
Uh-huh.
Lucifer, whatever. But I used this phrase and I didn't realize it until literally early as hell this morning when I had to send the video to someone who literally asked for it. I said the phrase in this Venus retrograde, you know, Lucifer is not the devil. They're different entities, but the Venus retrograde might make you feel demonized. You might have the feeling of a quote unquote fall from grace during this, and you might feel bad about yourself. Like you're not good enough. Like you might feel whatever, like people don't like you or something. That is a Venus retrograde in Leo feeling for damn sure. I said this a while back. This is like a month
Yeah, you
ago.
did.
And uh I had then that TikTok about Lionsgate go viral. And that shit ruffled some fucking feathers, dude. People have been like, and it made me feel bad about myself. I literally started thinking, like, when I have a video go do well, I'm not going to say go viral, but like just do well, I get bookings, I noticed bookings were not coming in. And I was like, because I was like, I mean, like, if you look at my fucking TikTok, I'm pretty fucking, I think, uplifting. I'm real. I keep it real, but like, I usually like very much seek to inspire. All my fucking clients walk away with, like, from a session with me feeling very uplifted and hopeful and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that is the goal. And it's always like been the goal with my content. But that was a harsh video. Like I called out some fucking serious bullshit. I've called out bullshit before though, but this one for some reason resonated, ticked off a lot of the new age spirituality kids, whatever, went viral. And a lot of people were pissed about it. And so I had that feeling without even real making the connection until this morning, the feeling of that fall from grace. I'm being demonized right now a little bit. Like I had these people saying
Uh-huh.
these shitty things. So Venus retrograde. I was aware of the Venus retrograde feeling, but I literally
Let me go
was
in those
thinking,
comments.
yeah, dude, I know. Well, and I was thinking, I've honestly like deleted some of them that were like really extra harsh. Like some of them were even like horribly homophobic. Tons of you white women love like the homophobia, which is nothing compared to like what the dudes do to women, clearly. But like, it's so funny. I don't get any hate from guys, like homophobic hate. I get a lot of white women who just like are homophobic as fuck.
Well, yeah,
But anyway,
but
like
let I'm going in your
whatever.
comment
I know.
section.
Yeah, and like I had to like, I don't know, I worked through that, but I did really consider, like, I noticed like I wasn't getting bookings, and I was before because I had put out the
Uh-huh.
Venus retrograde reading, like, and I was getting before this went viral, and then it's like the booking stopped, and I was like, is this going south? Am I having my fall from grace? Like, am I like, did I cut myself off from abundance because of my quote unquote harshness? That's how I viewed it for a minute, And then it was like, it literally like a toward like on 8/8 actually, which is the Lionsgate portal, whatever. We're not going to go there. But like on that day, I like something flipped in me where I was like, fuck it. Like I'm just like, there were
Yeah.
enough people that also were like enjoying it and supportive of it. And they were like, go you. Like, I don't know why people are hating on you. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I'm not going to be for everybody. I literally thought about the fact that I'm a manifester. We have the repelling aura. We're literally not for
Mhm.
anybody. Stupid people please are foolish to think that you could be.
Yeah.
I usually do, I feel like, have content that like just goes over well and resonates. This one did not. That's fucking fine. And when I came to peace with that, oh look, I got clients, like I got bookings, like, and not even just the Venus retrograde one. I got like birth chart right before this we hit record. I got a fucking
Yeah.
booking again. They just started coming back in when I became okay with who I am and the
Yeah.
authenticity, right? Like, so I'm just saying that, like, I just think that that's so fucking interesting because
That
you're
is.
right, like the authenticity is very important. And I that was just a Venus retrograde struggle for me. Like, and I noticed it very vividly, cut off my money. And I was like conscious of this the whole time. I just didn't really make the connection until this morning of what happened. But I did notice it flip too. Like when I owned it and I was like, fucking whatever. Now some people don't like me and I don't give a fuck. There are all these other people here who do like me.
Yeah, exactly. If everyone likes you, then you're doing it wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I am who I am. And you take it or leave it. I'm gonna keep improving. But you know what? Here's the thing. You're still watching me.
Well, and more than that, though, it's going to make you a successful person. You're living authentically, which means you're living with integrity to yourself. These are earthly energies. Like, you're going
Mhm.
to get more of what you truly want, money. Like the
Yeah.
money will come your way. Like, I just think it's quite literally that fucking simple. Like the knowing of the self, which is also something you said at the very beginning of this. Like, you need to know yourself. You need to know yourself, value yourself,
110%.
love yourself. Like, that shit is very important. And when you don't, oh my God, just like me, I just like watched the money, the bookings just stop, weird.
Hmm. It took note, and then, but it's just so fascinating that when you made peace with it, then it popped right back up, and
It
that is
really did.
how powerful the mind is. But
It
I mean, like
really fucking
it
is.
it all comes down to what you think at the end of the day, and I'm such a believer in that. And I watch. I mean, you watch what has transpired in the past year and a half, and it's just a matter of like it is, you're capable of anything. And even if whatever's in my birth chart, I truly believe that people are capable, but you have to think it, you have to believe it. So, but what are your intentions? Like, and that was a great point. What are the intentions? Because when I was doing manifestation stuff for money and trying to change my man, like my intention wasn't for the we, it was for the me. And I wasn't popping off. Okay. It wasn't so in the past few years, as life has evolved and changed, and my intentions have changed, then all of a sudden, and it had to it had to come about. You couldn't go to church and make this happen. I couldn't, like it was an involvement. I couldn't pray it. I couldn't, started to tell myself new stories and evaluate who I am. But you got to know first and foremost, before you do anything, who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. You capitalize on your strengths, you address your weaknesses so they're not so devastating. And then you assemble a team behind you, people who believe in you, and you start to march and you make it happen.
Fuck yeah. I think we're like coming to a close, but I do want to say one quick thing about the bartering thing that I kind of brought up before. I think in a part
Mhm.
two, there's so much
Yeah,
more to say
we're
about
not
this.
done. This is such a fascinating topic.
Yeah. But I think like I want to, because this has kind of been a reoccurring theme in different ways. We keep approaching this same subject, I think, of community and connectivity and people,
Hmm.
um, from different angles. And I thought about this with the bartering system when I learned basically that, like, pre like what we know money as now, like literally bartering was a thing, but it actually never really went away. Like, it comes and goes. And bartering, it's a fascinating thing. I'm not going to get fully into it, but basically, when an economic system is no longer working, when it's disintegrating is the word that they like choose to use, bartering rises. People start
Hmm.
bartering, which bartering doesn't mean it's equal. There's
Hmm.
subjectivity to it. Bartering inherently means there is a, like, I could barter with you and someone else could barter with you. The
Hmm.
value of me versus that other person is allowed to be different in a bartering society. But bartering is literally like, I'm just saying, like, as the progressive, like, if capitalism fucking tanks, bartering will probably be a thing that it traditionally, historically, is a thing that is a band-aid solution, and it's just a sign of a tanking economy, and it actually pushes an economy to tank even more. FYI, progressives,
Yeah.
progressives, if we're trying to figure out how to dismantle, we need to start a bartering economy.
I
But
love
the
trades. I
tenets
trade
of
for all sorts of stuff.
right, same, because it's different than giving away for free, which you don't do. Like, you need to value yourself somehow. If you just get, like, I don't do free readings anymore. I don't just do free readings. I know I get something, an energetic exchange from the other person, right? That is bartering, essentially, or just knowing that there's that trade happening there. But I think, like, the point of it in a bartering society, it isn't equal. And the two big things with, like, what you barter with is emotions. What's your emotion about another person? Like, I'm going to barter with the person who's a steward over the person who's like a greedy bitch.
Yeah.
And you barter with who you know. It's a emotional and a social thing. So
Uh-huh.
when money is taken away, like in the traditional sense that we have just been conditioned to have it in our structures, and I do think we're in a state of money changing, whether it goes cryptocurrency or whatever, that's going to be our part 2. Like, all these other things that I think we can talk about. But I think one thing that will not go away is your connectivity, the value you have as a human being with other
Uh-huh.
people, and those people you
Uh-huh.
surround yourself with. If everything goes to shit, that support system is the new currency. So, like, be a fucking good person. Like, I think that is so important with your money
Mhm.
mindset. If you're a fucking, of course, some people get their like billions through greed, but I also think they're going to kind of have their downfalls, and a lot of them actually just get handed it and
I was gonna
whatever.
say it can't really, it doesn't work like it used to,
It doesn't.
like, because of social media, if you are a shitbag and you are doing things and you are unhinged, at some point you might get away with it for a little bit, for a long bit. But I mean, there are so many people right now who are really paying the piper.
Yes, absolutely. And I think they're just going to continue to. These people are going to continue to get taken to task. Absolutely. Especially with all this Aquarius energy that is, it's community support, it's bartering, it's equitable, not necessarily always equal, but like equitable. I don't know. I just think that that's something you can definitely do right now. It's not isolate yourself if you're in a lack mindset or you feel like you don't have resources or whatever, or if you just need to be around better people who are supportive of you, who do believe in you or whatever.
Yeah, don't trauma bond over finances with, because that's the thing, poverty consciousness that can spread, so you need to be around people who are.
Yeah.
Don't discuss it. Don't discuss that. Don't discuss your money woes, solutions. You can
Yeah.
talk about, like you need solution oriented mindsets is
Yeah.
what is needed.
You can be with another broke person if you're both like, what are we doing to get out of this? Like, let's like think about all these
Yeah.
possibilities.
How can,
Like, that's
like
a
how
wealthy
can
person to be with.
exactly,
Right?
exactly. What currency do you have and you're offering and what are you getting back in regards to
Yes.
your bartering? Yep.
Yes, dude. I think the word currency is like kind of like what underpins a lot of this. Yes, there's wealth and there's abundance. That means though that there's a lot of currency in your life, but the currency I think is more of the like, I feel like the energy of that money falls into. Money is a form of currency. There's other currencies. Work on your other currencies.
So your homework, dear listeners, is let's start addressing it, babies. I want you to take a look at yourself. Like that's step one. And if you want to book a money mindset session with me, go ahead. And if you want to see where money is in your chart, maybe Ryan and I do maybe we do something like
We
a
should,
double,
dude.
see where the deficiencies and where the magic is happening in your chart. And then you come to me and I'll put together a little program and for $49.99 or $499.99 we can but let's start to address it, guys, because everyone is way more powerful than you were ever led to believe, and I truly believe that.
Yeah. Go, if you have social media, go follow a couple people who are like money mindset coaches. Follow Megan if you're not. Like go look at people who are literally like spitting out good content and shit about this stuff so you can be a little more solutions oriented and expand your knowledge in it. I'll put some books that I recommend, I think, that just for the pure variety.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put some books in the show notes to check them out. One's like witchy, one's like EFT tapping shit. Like, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff you can do here. Like,
Yeah.
just so like expand your, I guess, toolkit to help you figure out what works better for you, because there's so
Mm-hmm.
much out there. And even when you find something that works well for you, it doesn't mean you should necessarily even stop looking for more stuff. Look at Megan. employing all sorts of different
all
tools,
day.
you know?
I'm a garbage can of knowledge. I want to I want to know, okay, and even gnarly stuff. I'm like, ew, gross. And this is exactly why this doesn't work. So now I know why this doesn't work. I'm glad I consumed this. I love this. I love this conversations. Once again, guys, we are so blessed and our to have this platform and that anybody's even listening besides, you know, our family. Shout out to everyone who was our family that listened to the first few episodes. But yeah, we're so thankful. This is so fun. We love it. And we love
It
you.
is. Yes. Thank you so much for being here. And
Yeah.
we'll do a follow-up on this. Let us know if you have any feedback or if there's certain things that resonated or that you had resistance to or that you want to hear in a part 2.
Yeah.
Because we're doing a part 2. We'll have a part 2 coming.
Maybe 2, 3, 4.
Later.
See you later.